Welcome to part 6, creating final tables for the dashboard. So now that we've executed the run method from both the cases model and the deaths model classes, we need to extract the data that's in those data frames and place it in a CSV file somewhere in our file system where our dashboard application can pick it up and then show the results to the user. So before creating this final table, what we need to do is actually add the USA back to the world tables. So if you remember, we originally filtered out the USA from the world tables so that we can model each state independently. So now that we have built our model, we're going to sum up the states for every single day and then add a column, a single column, back into the world data frames to represent the USA. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is the daily cases and deaths from the CM and DM instances. So this is what the D stands for, is daily. And we're just going to get these data frames. All this is retrieving the data frames from our cases model and our deaths model. So we're going to get both the world and USA cases from the cases model, and then the world deaths and USA deaths from the deaths model. And this is the combined daily, so it combines the actual with the predicted values. So those are those 4 data frames. And then here, we're going to modify these data frames by adding a column using the assign method. So the assign method adds a single column, and the column name will just be the keyword argument over here, so it'll be USA. And what are we going to add? Well, we're going to sum up the USA cases, the daily cases, for all the states going horizontally. That's access equal 1, which sums up horizontally. And we're going to do the same thing for the daily deaths. Now, for the cumulative, the same process occurs. We're going to extract the data frames for the cumulative for both the world and USA for both cases and deaths. And then we're just going to add a new column over there like that. That sums up all of the state values for a single day. Okay, so let's execute this. And then we're going to look at the world cases. In this case, we'll just look at the cumulative in the very beginning. So whenever we add a new column with the assign method, it adds it at the very end. So here it is. This is the cumulative, and we're looking at the last 10 columns using iLoc. So that's why we've done this, and the last 5 rows. So if you remember, our model was trained up until November 5th. And we said to predict the next 30 days. So this is the last predicted day, December 5th. That's why it ends right there. Okay, we can also look at we could have looked at the daily, so world cases daily like this, and we could see that USA is at the end. These are daily predicted values. We could have done the same thing for deaths. There's our daily predicted deaths, and then for cases, cumulative is with this C. So we have these. We added the USA to these 4 data frames like that. All right, now so. Our strategy for creating these final tables is we're actually going to put all of the information, that means the daily cases and deaths, and the cumulative cases and deaths, into a single data frame. So you might be wondering how we're going to do that. And it turns out it'll be quite easy to use for the dashboard to pick up this one data frame and then to filter the results like that. So we're going to do some reshaping with the stack method. So the stack method in Pandas, it just literally stacks every column one beneath the other, and it'll label it by putting in the column name into the index. So it's just much easier to show this when we call it. So we've stacked all of the columns like this. It does keep the data frame sorted by date. So this is we're stacking all of the data into a single column. So each one of these, like the world cases and world deaths for both the cumulative and the daily, are going to be a single column with a label for the date and a label for the country. And then obviously the value will just be whatever value that is. Here it is, the daily cases. Okay, so we have 4 data frames: world deaths, world cases, world daily deaths, daily cases, cumulative deaths, and cumulative cases for the world. We have 4 more for the USA. You'll see it down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to call the stack method on each of those data frames. So we're going to create one long series of data that has these, two items in the index, the date and the country name. And then we're just going to stack them, we're going to concatenate them horizontally. That's what this access equals 1. So it'll turn into a data frame of 4 columns, and the labels will remain the same. This keys parameter labels the resulting columns. So as you can see here, we have the date over here. We now have a proper data frame, no longer a series. We're just, concatenating 4 of these together. We have the country, then we have the 4 columns, so daily deaths, daily cases, and this is actually cumulative deaths and cumulative cases. So this is the single data frame that I'm talking about for the world. The same thing can be done for the USA like this. So we just stack, again, the 4 daily, the 2 daily and the 2 cumulative, and then call the concat function to concatenate them horizontally like this. Now, so all of this code, we're going to create a single function to encapsulate this. So we just saw this was adding the USA to the table. And then over here, we stack what we just did above, creating that data frame. And then the final thing, and this is not shown above, but we're actually we're gonna stack these again. We're gonna stack the world and USA vertically on top of each other. So we're gonna have both the USA and the world data all in the same table. We will have a label, a further index that will label them world and USA. And then the last thing is we will write this to a CSV. We'll call it all data. So this function takes in the cases model and deaths model instance variables. And let's call this combined data. And then we will see over here, we're going to print out the tail of this. And so the extra addition is that there's another index level. So it's a pretty complex data frame. We have 3 index levels: the group, which is either USA or world, the date, and then the area. And then using this combination of group, date, and area, we can find the exact data that we need. So either we get back the daily deaths, cases, or total deaths, and or total cases. Okay, so that's what we're going to do to create our final tables for the dashboard. Add the USA back in to the tables, and then create this one giant table with multiple index levels labeling each row.